Hello and welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm good. So, on today's show, we got a fun show today. This is our final episode 2023. Where is the time gone?
It's been fast.
It has been fast, but yet the season was so long.
It was so long. Yes.
But on today's show, we as we mentioned last episode, we're going to share some of our union gifts that we got for Christmas. And then back by popular demand, the 2023 edition of What If. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, it's good timing because I've been watching the What If series on Disney Plus, which if you haven't seen it, by the way, it's pretty good.
Shameless plug there.
Shameless plug. I'm not sponsored by Disney Plus, but no, it's good though.
And then we're gonna finish up with Jillian and I are going to go over each of our top 10 union moments from 2023.
Yes, because as the year's coming to a close, it's a great time to do, countdowns and lists like that. So look forward to sharing. And the fun thing is we did not talk about, we came up with our own list.
Yeah, we did.
He hasn't heard what my top 10 is, and I haven't heard his, so you guys are all going to hear it first.
I think everybody knows what my number one is.
Yeah, I think I probably do too.
Anyway, before we get started, what are we wearing today?
So I haven't broken this one out yet, I don't think. So I have my Andre Blake MLS bootleg shirt on. So shout out to them for, of course, creating a great shirt. I know I messaged them and and I'm sure I'm not the only one who messaged them about it, asking for Andre Blake. But that was one that I was very excited to get because he's one of my favorite Union players of all time. And how about you, Kyle?
I'm wearing a shirt that I'm curious how many episodes I've worn this, but I'm wearing my Come On, You Boys in Blue Collar t-shirt. Love this shirt. It's comfy. It's still one of my all-time favorite Sons of Ben t-shirts. So again, just really enjoy this. Hopefully in 2023 we'll have some new shirts.
Oh yes. And I have so many that I feel like I haven't repeated shirts too much on
You
here.
haven't. I have.
But that's because every time we go to a game or something, I go in the team store and unfortunately I come out with stuff a lot of the times.
You do.
But especially since when you get to the press box, I'm on my own. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the team store. But I do look forward to whatever new merch there will be, and we'll definitely review that when that stuff comes out. So
Absolutely.
before we continue, just make sure that you are following us on all the social media platforms we are part of. We love to interact with people in there. We're on Twitter. Yes, I'm still calling it that. X, whatever, at TOTWAG. We're on Instagram and Facebook at the One Team We Agree On. And we're on YouTube and all your major podcasting platforms.
Yeah, so let's kick off here, and why don't we share our gifts that we this year? I think no one gave us any union stuff, so it was just you and I exchanging. So ladies first, and
Okay.
why don't you share what I got you this year?
Okay, yeah, actually, like none of my relatives or anyone got me any union stuff, but they probably figured I have enough.
I think that's how my mom was like, "Do you guys need any union stuff?" And I'm like, "No, we're good."
They're probably afraid they'd get me something I already have.
Yeah.
But I did get a Kelly Green, Jason Kelsey jersey for the Eagles, which was
And I
amazing.
finally got a Timberwolves T-shirt.
He did.
I did. Like
Because I always joke that,
you have more 76er stuff than I do.
Yeah, and I don't have a ton of Sixer stuff, but I have a few things.
I
Yeah.
have an old Kevin Garnett Timberwolves jersey
That's cool.
somewhere.
I always joke that you don't wear anything Timberwolves, and you're like, but I have the socks. Yeah, whatever. Speaking of socks, nice.
Which I actually have on. See, but I actually have them on.
Nice little segue into one of the things you got me. So I got some Union socks from Kyle, and now this is a really cool find. This is really cool. So for those of you just listening and you can't see it, it is the MLS All-Star scarf from 2012 when it was in Philly. And so it has Philadelphia MLS All-Star on the one side there, 2012. And then on the other side, it has MLS All-Star in really big letters. So, so that was an eBay find, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, and if you guys aren't going on eBay and looking at some of the stuff you can find there,
can find some stuff.
Yeah. So I've gotten some things on there for sure. We got our MLS Cup 2022 scarf
that.
there. Yeah.
You can also get some really original created stuff too.
Yeah, there's well, and
Non-licensed.
that's isn't that where you got
Yeah.
so another thing Kyle got me is a bracelet and that has the Union logo on there. So that's one that's handmade. Where'd you
Yeah.
get that one?
I have no idea. It was on eBay.
It's on eBay. Okay. And then so it's not an official Union thing, but I know some people, Pull Me, for example, will appreciate this because, doing the snake jewelry. Okay. Have a it's like it's a three snake kind of thing. Makes me think of the three-headed snake,
Yeah.
three-headed monster of our of Gazdag, Ua, and Karanza, at least we hope them to be.
Yeah.
So that is a snake necklace. That'll look really good. So that's what I got. And Kyle,
Uh, so Jillian got me this Live Breathe Football t-shirt. It's a little wrinkled.
the light blue one. Yeah, with the kind of swirly design. Like I have this sweatshirt that has the design on it.
And I've always liked that sweatshirt. Of the two shirts, this was my favorite. And I like the t-shirt a lot.
I know I have the dark blue version of it.
And then you got me the JSP
So it says, yeah, it's the
JSP, and it says Union in the background. And then on the back, this was kind of cool. It has dupe and then it fades top to bottom.
yeah, I like that dupe back of it.
I do too. I do too. I think that's really, really cool. It's a really nice shirt, really comfortable, really good quality.
Yeah, I will say this, like those are very good quality items, like the Live Breathe Football
Yeah.
and the JSP stuff. It's like really good quality. Like the light blue sweatshirt that we all saw Jim wear
Yeah.
before and everything, like, yeah, it was a little pricey, but it's actually like really comfy and nice quality.
Can I just say something about Jim Schwag? The one thing I really liked was that coat he was wearing there touring the playoffs.
Yeah.
But it was like what, $4,000?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so no, we will not be getting that and rocking that.
No.
And why don't you share one of our final gifts that
Oh
we got,
yes.
that we share every year? So as you know, since I guess 2021, I've been doing these collages.
Photo collage, yeah.
Yep, of the season. And this year's theme was friends we made along the way because we've been talking about friends. So we have a lot of pictures that we took throughout the year that we've posted on Instagram, Facebook. And yeah, last year was a lot of just us. This year it was kind of just friends we've made from 2023. So
Yeah, so shout out to our friends who made it onto the photo collage, which is a lot of them.
yeah,
And I know as we're recording this today, happy birthday, Rich Ransom. He's
yeah,
on there.
birthday Rich.
Yeah, we got Shelby and Todd. We got our other friend Todd, Kyle's bestie. We've got a big crew of people here. We got Jimmy, we got Mike, we got Jose, we got Elvia, and we also have Ptolemy and Valerie on
Yeah.
there. And there's a picture of us in Colorado there too,
Yeah.
which was super fun. So that's always fun to look at there. And yeah, so amazing memories we made this past year.
Really. So hey, comment, share. We'd love to see what group stuff you got for Christmas and or the holidays. So I know the union put something out and some people were sharing. So hey, feel free to comment on our page and share with what you got. All right, now for some fun. The 2023 edition of What If. So if you remember last year, kind of like we kind of played off the Marvel thing last year, and we asked you guys to submit some of your what ifs. Now, we don't like to be speculative and hypothetical on this show. All right.
But we're going to be today.
We're gonna have some fun with this. So basically how it's gonna work, I'm gonna read like what if, and we're basically gonna say, like, based on what our feelings are and opinions, how this would have played out throughout the year. All right.
All right.
So the first one's actually one I kind of had brought up as an example, and that is, what if Andre Blake hadn't gotten injured early in the season against Colorado? I mean, Chicago. So for me, if Andre does not get injured, we don't lose that game in Montreal. Do we win it? Maybe.
Maybe it's a draw.
Maybe it's a draw, but it's a point.
Yeah, and we know how important like each of those points was towards the
And
end.
then maybe maybe Orlando's a point.
Yeah, and so, yeah, we definitely don't drop as many points, I
I
think.
don't think we drop as many points early in the year. I also think, he had kind of some didn't he have like a reoccurrence a little bit, but it didn't really it kind of healed up a
Yeah.
little bit.
But
But
but the long story short is, then we don't drop those points, we get a different seed in the playoffs,
we get
and who knows what happens there.
semi.
Yeah. We beat them.
Maybe maybe we get a higher seed. I mean, there's a lot of what ifs on that, and that's why we do this. The important thing is, I think early on, it kind of dampened a little bit the tone of, this is.
Yeah, because it's like, well, and no offense, Joe Bendick, but it's kinda like, "Oh, great," you know?
Well, I think at his age, it was kind of the door was closing. I mean, Joe was fine in sporadic moments, but that's Joe
Yeah,
is. Joe was good in sporadic moments. So for me,
yeah.
my what if is maybe we get a couple more points.
We
Uh,
don't drop that. Oh, another one, we don't drop that game against Orlando, though, probably at home.
that's the one I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
know, but, like, the big thing is there that home streak,
Yeah,
that
and we
home win
don't
streak.
lose the home streak. Very good. Yeah, we don't lose the home streak. And again, maybe we get a couple more points here throughout the year. Maybe he, gets back and who
Mhm,
knows, maybe it just is a confidence thing. So I think
mhm,
the seed, the points, especially as tight as the East was this year, I think we get a better playoff seed. And then who knows?
mhm.
Who knows what happens. So
Yeah,
again, we're not going to do the what if and tell the entire story, but
yeah.
we'll tell our version of it. So
I'm going off script for a second,
okay,
but
go from it.
because I got a what if for you.
What?
What if we still had Stuart Finley this year?
I think, and this goes to another question I'll get to. I think if we still had Stu, I think Jim rotates the center backs a little bit more, especially, and then maybe you have Glessons for the playoffs, and he's 100%. I also think he's definitely going three in the back a lot more
Mhm,
with Stu, with Damian, but I think you see a lot more rotation in with the center backs. And no one wants to say this, but does he occasionally put Elliott at the 8? I hope not, but that would be a wild one. No, no, he doesn't do that. But I think you would see a little bit more rotation with the center backs. I think that would be a big one.
Yeah, and the thing is it stinks like, man, Stu missed, that opportunity, just missed it, but that being said, I love Damian Lowe, though, I'm glad we have him, and, he did a good job this season.
Damian was a pleasant
Mhm.
surprise with a very underwhelming free agent class this year. So,
Yeah.
um, the next one, this came off of Twitter. This is from
Niche Nurse
Niche Nurse.
is her, Twitter handle, yeah.
What if Kai would have punched Bobby Wood instead?
I like this question.
So yes, this is a good one. So shout out to you, and thank you for your what if. If you all remember, we don't even need to go into this. Everybody that's listening to this, Union fans, knows what
Mhm.
happened.
Yeah.
First leg of the first game of the playoffs. What if Kai punched Bobby Wood?
I
Well, go ahead.
Well, and, like, obviously, I don't think he'd be as vilified as he was by the fan base. I mean, people would be disappointed for sure in him,
Right.
you know, um, but, you know, punching the guy out of frustration and using racist language, 2 different things. Now, I'm not condoning the violence, but it's sad that people would actually be less pissed probably if you punched Bobby Wood. I kinda feel that way.
Well, we know that the, front office was upset with MLS that they did not,
Mhm.
at least hand down some discipline to Bobby Wood. Again, doesn't excuse Kai.
No.
Um, to me, I would say if Kai punches Bobby Wood, I still think he's done for the playoffs.
Well,
I don't think we get Kai.
he's
So
gonna
what if
get violent conduct.
so
First of all, and if that happens, actually, he's not finishing out that game. He's immediately off the field. Immediate red card. We're playing down a man. We
and
might end up losing then in that last. I mean,
there was
well, actually, it wasn't that, but it was at the very end. But still, like, who
what
knows? Yeah,
I would say this, I suspended, so it really doesn't change this.
yeah.
Let's talk about the contract in the offseason. I think his persona amongst the fan base has changed a little bit. Obviously, like you say, he's not vilified. How did the union
Mhm.
go against, okay, I mean, obviously, how does that affect his contract situation? That's a good question. I don't know. What I will say is I think, it doesn't leave such a bad taste in people's mouth, obviously.
Yeah.
But I do still think you don't it's not like a one-game suspension and we get him back for Cincinnati. No, I
Yeah.
think he would still be gone for the playoffs, but maybe his legacy isn't as tainted and maybe
Because people can might have been like, "Hey, yeah, he's frustrated." Yeah,
he was
probably like,
frustrated, he
you
was
know,
defending his family,
you know.
yada, 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 and maybe he's like an unsung hero and the pay Kai chant still goes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I look at it, but that's an excellent,
Yeah.
excellent, excellent one. Alright, our friend Todd Lewis, from Free Kick has a couple. His first one. What if the Union do not blow the 2-0 halftime lead versus Cincinnati at home late in the season? This is an excellent one.
Yeah.
And I want to get on this. So the Union don't blow that lead. I think that is a massive confidence boost for the squad because they look confident that first half,
Yeah, they
and then
did.
they played scared. I mean, I thought the second half they were too conservative and played scared. And
Yeah.
we talked about that after that game. I think that's a confidence boost. I don't think we go on a draw streak
Yeah.
because then it was like, oh, what are we doing? Now we're playing not to lose rather than you got punched in the mouth, and now you're playing not to lose rather than, okay, we just beat the supporting shield winner at home. I think that's a massive confidence boost. And to that point, now you go back to Cincinnati at that game. All right.
Yeah.
And I think the Union are a lot more confident. Maybe Ua doesn't miss that sitter.
Yeah.
Maybe we sneak out a point. Maybe we head on to Columbus. Do we beat Columbus in Columbus? Well, we drew them. So there's another what if. Did we go play LAFC at home? I I would love to have seen that. I
Mhm.
think that would have been amazing in the atmosphere and everything. But I think the confidence of this team is a lot different. I think maybe that draw against LASC, maybe that draw against Nashville at Snooze Fest does not happen. Don't know about some of those other draws, but hey, I mean, I think that's a big. I'm going to say we didn't go on Draw Fest, but
We did have a bunch of draws though,
like
yeah.
that game against like Dallas, I think we're a much
Yeah.
more confident team.
And public service announcement, okay? Um, let's not chant overrated at the opposing team as they're going in the locker room to halftime. Okay? That pissed me off. Okay? Don't do that. Do it at the end of the game when you beat them. Okay?
This
Don't
is
give
the second time you've said public service announcement on this. Man, this is like you've gone on a rant on this like 3 times, man. We need to make a t-shirt out of that.
But seriously though, like,
Do not chant.
yeah, seriously.
Um, Second one. What if the Union had never loaned Brandon Craig to Austin?
Easy. I don't think he gets in anyway.
Okay, so as you know, Union um basically loaned him. The thought was, as Jim had said, he gets playing time now. So what happens? He goes to Austin. Austin goes and signs Matt Hedges after he's been there, I
Mhm.
believe. I think that's who they got another center back. And yeah, Brandon Craig never paid. The transfer didn't go well. We got zip out of it because he never played.
Yep.
And so if he never gets played, does he play at all? Maybe he plays in the League's Cup. I don't think so. I don't think Jim really. I think
We all saw
I
how
think
much Jim
Brendan
rotated.
I just think he just sits there
Yep.
and doesn't play. And regardless, I know a lot of people that follow the U20s and follow U2 love him. And what I've seen from him in those lumps, he's done some decent stuff. I
Yeah.
just don't think Jim rates him as high with the
Mhm.
first team, and it's a reality situation. Now, what does that mean going forward? I don't know.
Mm.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe he gets some time this year, and maybe Makanya is the one that is now kind of growing and developing. I don't know, but We'll see, but I don't think he plays at all. In fact, I would say he's gonna sit there.
Yeah.
So, that was that. Um, and then this one, from Twitter again, is from Pat in the Hat, um, who always listens and comments. We appreciate Pat.
Hmm.
Um, what if Jim had rotated better? This was like the common theme, and you saw it too. Like people would like text me and like, "Hey, what if Jim?" I think there was like 5 or 6 of these. So, what if Jim had rotated better?
We might have had a little less fatigue.
That's definite. I think if we rotate better, maybe again at the end of the season, we're not getting some of them draws. Maybe we don't have as many injuries
Yep.
going into things. Maybe we get up higher in the stand. I think what if we're higher up in the standings? I think maybe we see a little bit more development from some players.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Yeah, like we would have liked to have seen a little more development. Like, you know, we saw, for instance, Joaquin Torres. Okay. Like
Mhm.
we didn't really get to see him do as much. There were times where it was good for him to get in, like it made sense.
I'll tell you what. Again, I said this on this podcast. When I saw him at practice, and then when he came in against low block
Hmm.
against in the playoffs, that if that's like him coming off the bench and doing that, okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
However, again, and this is brought up by Todd. I think Jose's brought and Mike's brought it up. I think other people brought it up. He's so one-footed. He's just
Hmm.
very you can take him out of the game very easily.
Yeah.
As much as he can create
Hmm.
sometimes, he's just too one-dimensional. However, getting back to that question, Pat, um, I think if Jim rotates a little bit more, maybe we're a little bit fresher.
Yep.
We're a little bit, better throughout the year. And hey, the Union go on and make maybe a deeper run in the playoffs
Yep.
and get a little better seed again, kind of like our very first question. So
Yep.
thanks again for your question. And now from our buddy Jose Nunez. What if Perea had stayed and been utilized?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I know I was really disappointed. I want to see more from him. And he had shown some really good stuff, I thought. Like when he
Yeah,
scored,
yeah.
what was he had 2 goals in what it was the one CCL game, right?
Yeah, and he had a goal against Orlando. I mean, he
Yeah.
he he performed well at times.
Yeah, and obviously he fit in well up at NYC, but yeah, I think he would have had a chance because remember when we were actually kind of hurting in the midfield there, like we had just loaned out Odata pretty much, and Perea was gone, and then it's like, oh man, we could have actually used them now.
Can I add to this? What if we don't loan out Odata and Pereira? Number one, now if we don't loan out Odata and Pereira,
Hmm.
I think our midfield during the year
Yeah,
is a lot better. We're able when we have knocks and suspensions
yeah,
to
hmm,
rotate a little bit more. I think Pereira is a viable option off the bench at times.
hmm,
However, again, he doesn't fit the system. Well, why isn't Jim rotating and adapt to his system? That's another question,
hmm.
another what if for another time. I would say that again, he provides us a weapon, and hey, once again, going back, maybe we win some of those nil-nil draws or
Hmm.
those 1-1 games. Maybe he's that spark, gets us those points. Again, you're gonna see, folks. The common theme with me is they're getting more rotation. They're able to make a deeper run in the MLS.
Maybe we win that away game at at New England, the end of the season because like
Yeah,
when Martinez is suspended, we could have really used him.
exactly. So again, that's a really good question. Um, so that was that one. And then finally, buddy Jimmy King, congratulations on winning.
Like a lot of
I mean,
categories
yeah,
on
you
here.
won a lot of categories.
Yeah.
So congratulations, dude. Really happy for you, man.
Hmm.
Again, if you haven't checked out his work on PSN, he does great coverage of the Philadelphia Union on that site. And he was, I guess, MVP and Writer of the Year.
Well deserved.
Very well deserved. So congratulations. Um, but yeah, Jimmy kind of did a little thing. So he kind of was doing foreshadowing. He was kind of out and looking at 2024
Mhm.
kind of current. So let's have some fun, and then we can come back to some of these at the end of next year's episode. Um, what if the Union plan to go into the season with the roster they have? Now, I'm gonna have a little fun with this. That means Kai and Ally do not come back. So right now we have Matt Riel as our left back, and Buenos, takes over for Ally's spot. What if? Well, so if the Union are going to do that,
Not only that, the goalkeeper situation too.
yeah, we got Holden Trent.
J
We-
Mac Daddy's not coming back. He's not coming.
Mhm.
Dang. I was kind of hoping for it.
And then we either have Andrew Rick, who honestly, let's start giving him a shot.
Why
Why
not?
not? I mean, but honestly, I think that's why they drafted that third guy to kind of be like the Holden's kind of. I think Holden, if that's the roster, I think if we go into the season with this roster, uh, I don't know how deep we make it in tournaments. Maybe we make a couple semis. I think there's a regression.
Would you go with Holden, Trent, or Andrew Rick as a backup?
I don't know if Andrew Rick, as good as he is ready for first team,
Yeah.
and we don't know what Holden is.
Yeah. Because Andrew Rick's like 17, 18.
I
Whatever.
think Holden could be something.
He's at least played in college and everything. He's a little more seasoned.
But again, his development was derailed by his injury. I think if we
Yeah.
go into season, I still think we get to the playoffs.
Mhm.
I don't know if we host playoffs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we really make any major noise. I think there's a regression, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. What that regression would be, I don't know. But I would say probably 10 less points. So now you're
Mhm.
probably looking low 50s, definitely in 40s. And again, you sneak in, one of the lower seeds, and now you're hosting best of three. You're not hosting the best of three, so
Mhm.
you only get one home game. I mean, there's definitely going to be a regression.
Yeah.
And then another one, but this one kind of play off of this. What if Ernst rights his wrongs and brings Ali Bedoya back for one final season?
Well, I think the leadership that he provides is one of the biggest things, honestly.
So if Ali comes back, I think now you have another viable option to play 20 minutes. All right. I
Mhm.
think now maybe you're back up in that top four of the Eastern Conference. I think his leadership provides he provides midfield depth.
Mhm.
And I think now you're feeling a lot more confident because he's going to be that transition bridge to the next captain, whoever that may be, Glesnes, Elliott, Blake. I think that's something he's that transition voice. For me, I think if he comes back, the Unions still stay on top of where they kind of currently are, even with now Kai's going to be a big loss.
Mhm.
So maybe we drop maybe 5 instead of 10, but I still think Allie's leadership is good for at least, some points and some wins.
Yeah, I mean, and I really do hope they bring LA back, you know. I want him to be able to like retire from our team like on his terms, and like, you know, have a kind of a farewell tour here sort of.
Yeah. Um, what if this is one? What if Carranza gets sold and the Union don't bring in another striker?
Oh,
Are you confident with Ua, Baribo, Donovan, and then I mean, is it Stas who they drafted in the second round? Is it Quinn? I mean,
I mean, we've seen what Quinn can
hey,
do.
is it
I mean,
Jose Riasco coming back?
is that actually going to happen?
Well, that's another what if in itself. What if
Yeah.
Jose Riasco?
Well, the thing is, okay, we barely got to see Ty do anything. I mean, I'm interested to see what he can do given like, an actual like, yeah, actually start with us sometime and be in shape, same as the other guys and all that. So I'm interested to see what he can do. Um, I honestly would love to see Quinn get some time. You know, he really showed some good stuff late in the season there when he was getting opportunities. But um
Do they?
but man, you're not gonna I mean, Julian had some really, really great goals last year. I mean, gosh, that's
Those
tough to
three play
reproduce.
off of each other, both in good and in bad. So you get rid of him, you have to find somebody. So
How many of Julian's goals were on Todd's top 10 goals list there?
a
There are
lot.
a few, and not even all of them were on
So
there.
he sold that early season CCL and that tough stretch right at the beginning of the season. That's gonna be a little rocky. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Some of those wins and draws and probably gonna end up being L's. So
And here's the thing, like, okay, we're gonna sell Julian for like all this money, but then what are we, you know what's gonna happen? We're not gonna reinvest that and like getting signing someone else, you know, like if it's going the way it's like really, what did we do after, you know, the Aaronsons? Like we got all that money.
we got all those players. We made a run.
We did somewhat, but I'm saying like, yeah,
Good question. Because well, I mean,
yeah.
you got Ua.
We got Ua. He was a big part of the 2022 season for sure.
We could probably use Kronza money. Some of that money went to
Yeah, I
Kronza.
just want to see it like
Some
invested well. That's what I'm saying. Like,
no, I get what you're saying. And so what does happen? But I'm saying, I think, if that happens, it's gonna be tough. Now, it could also be we sell Kronza, everybody's gloom and doom, kind of like what
lots of
happened.
brokenhearted females everywhere.
Yes. But honestly, and then boom, we sign another striker out of nowhere. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
And maybe we use that U22
Did
initiative.
people all see like Carranza having the
No.
season he did last year? I mean, 2022. I mean,
I
geez.
remember talking about it to everybody, like when we got rid of Casper, it was like,
Yeah.
okay, we get this Ua guy. I mean, he'll give a spark, but then all of a sudden it's like, okay, Kronz is gonna be kind of that whole player. Okay, cool.
So yeah, point
but
being, have an open mind.
We didn't know what would happen. Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, yeah.
I think there's a lot right now at this point. There's a lot of questions, and we just need to see how the transfer window plays out.
Yep.
So anyway, that's what if for 2023. Hope you enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want to leave on. So there's a lot of gloom and doom I felt on that one.
Wow.
But I had fun doing it.
Yeah, and hopefully, we'll soon hear what is going to be the situation with Ale and Kai and, anything else going on. So, and I'm also excited to find out, what the new kit is.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I know. When did they drop last year? I forget now.
I forget. It was either into January, beginning.
Yeah, so looking forward to that.
It was like beginning of February because I remember they dropped it and then we were down Subaru the following week.
Yeah, it was like.
So anyway.
All right, so we're gonna do our top 10 Union moments. Now, this wasn't necessarily like game moments, like goals and stuff. This is just like the overall, experience. At least that's kind of how I looked at it. But a lot of it's from the games. But again, Kyle hasn't heard my list and I haven't heard his, so I guess me to go first.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I honestly like revised this a few times because there's like a lot of moments that were really awesome. So I had to like kind of whittle it down a little bit. Okay. So at number 10, Kyle getting his head shaved for St. Baldrick's.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was also, it was a rainy night. That was the night we had the Parley jerseys, as I recall. And so that was
it was
April.
that night. Yeah.
Yeah. So that rainy night and Ua had his hat trick and all that. But yeah, so that was just great cause. And I mean, honestly, I could fill the whole top 10 with like tailgate and like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
All the different things with our friends. But no, that was
great cause.
Yeah.
Now I blast out. Live Strong staff and alumni. They loved that I did that when I shared that with them. They thought it was so cool.
Yeah. Number 9, the dog running on the field versus Allianz in that CCL game.
We remember that. That
was so CCL.
yes. RIP that dog. Well, no, we don't know if it's dead, but
No, I think I heard it got adopted or something.
oh, that's
I don't know.
great.
I feel like I
Okay.
heard that somewhere, but
That's
yeah.
great.
Hey, it's not CONCACAF without
I
like
didn't mean to
it's
RIP. I meant shit dog wherever he is.
I hope
Hope
he's
he's
living his
living
best
his life.
life. Yeah. Number 8. So the away game at NYCFC, when Julian had the 2 quick goals, like right before the half. I mean, first of all, the ball that was sent down, I think Jack Elliott sent that down and just boom. Like, and this was we were down 1-0, and all of a sudden, like right towards the end of the first half, boom, Julian knocks in, and then another quick one in like the stoppage time or whatever. So we
Yeah.
go into the locker room at half, up 2-1.
And then remember,
And we like the crowd was like was just like
well, they weren't
but
all crying. Remember, then all of a
and
sudden,
then
then NYCFC fans start fighting with our
yeah, they tried
supporter
to
side,
say
and they got thrown out.
yeah, that was a fun away trip.
And then Damian Lowe comes in the stands at the end to like say
Yeah.
hi to somebody, and like that was
Yeah.
just awkward. He just climbs into the stands and just like starts talking to, like, I think it was like somebody
He
that
probably somebody knew, but
it
there
was like
was
somebody that knew Andre too.
but the
So
fact that like our away now of course this is at, the Mets stadium,
yeah.
and so we're at City Field and like we're like down by the field, like we're just near like the goal, like where those 2
Mhm.
goals happened too. Like how close we were was kind of
It
surprising.
was.
But that was a really fun away trip. We just drove up ourselves. Um, but that was really fun. Number 7 was Jesus Bueno's game winner in PKs and Leagues Cup versus New York Red Bulls
Yeah.
when he was like the final one, to knock that in. He had scored, it was the previous Leagues Cup game against DC that went to PKs, and I know Jesus Bueno had a goal in there, and then it came down to Bizo, and
Yeah. So
Bizo scored the game winner, and that was really fun too because it's like, oh, Bizo's taking one, all right, and he did it. But yeah, Choo Choo, getting that in there at the end, that was a really good one. Plus, against Red Bulls, I know like Andre saved like one of them. I think that one of them got hit out by the goalpost and stuff.
yeah.
So anyway, so that was fun. Um, Number 6 was again an away trip. The Andre Blake Jacob Glessness save sequence at against DC.
Yep.
Okay. Um that was that whole road trip, went with Ptolemy, and and those guys. And like that was super fun. We we had a really good view of that because where we were in the way supporters section.
Hmm.
But, like, how, like, Andre stops it right there at the goal line, and then Benteke is, like, hits it in again, and Lesnes gets it out, and just that whole thing. That was, like, one of the top, like I know that was a candidate for, like, save of the year, and yeah. So that was really good. Just that whole road trip was fun. And Number 5, you'll like this one, Kyle. Mikel Ua's hat trick in the Parley jerseys versus Toronto in the rain.
Yeah.
That whole game, that was yeah, it was cold and rainy, but we had a good time.
It was an excellent.
But seeing Mikel Ua have that hat trick and everything, oh man, here we go.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, see, number 4 was, and this is okay, I'm gonna count this because it was Union 2, but whatever. The whole like experience of the Union 2 versus Wrexham game, especially like after the rain, like during the rain delay, which was pretty
Yeah.
fun in the tunnel. And then afterward, when we were like, most people weren't there anymore, and a bunch of us were just like gathered in the middle of the river end and doing our chants and everything. And that was so much fun.
That was a fun time.
Yeah. Okay, number 3. You'll probably be surprised I didn't rank this higher, but and I kind of lumped this together. Um, the drum strikers of Stuart Finley, and then I think it was the following game,
Yeah.
Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
And I was like really excited that Stu was back and we got to like talk to him at the end of the game and everything. Having him come out was awesome. That was like I think our first game back after we've been away, Colorado. But
Yeah, that
um
was just a fun night, just
but
getting to see Stu
yeah,
again. I really liked that, and then, of course, the Kelsey one was fun because
stands with us. It was
yeah, that
great.
was cool to see, and, like, we were listening to New Heights driving down, and we made the remark, like, "When's he gonna bang the drum? He'd be
And I've been
perfect."
saying forever that he needed to come bang the drum because he would love being in the river end. And sure enough, he came in the river end.
Well, they were kinda back too, and I remember I was like, "Yo, they're back. Good happened," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, then it did happen."
Yeah, so that was epic. So I kind of lumped that together. Um, number two, I mean, I could pretty much say the whole time we were away at Colorado, like
Yeah.
everything we experienced there. We had that comeback, like we were down 1-0. Then there was that Kai goal, which was really good. And then Julian had that really good goal from out a little
Mhm.
ways. And of course ended with that whole brawl at the end.
That's
It was funny. Jesus Bueno had a red card, but that whole thing and that one of the other guys had a red card and just like all the fun times though we had.
yeah.
We went to the Phillies game. We went obviously the Union game. We went hiking. We hung out with Todd and Shelby. Just the whole thing was super fun. And number one, my favorite moment of the season was Jose Martinez's screamer versus Orlando.
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
That should have been goal of the year. He was ripped off. That should have been goal of the year. But anyway, I mean, how can you not love that moment? I mean, I've watched that clip so many times.
Those are some solid moments. I will say, there are a lot on my list as well, but there aren't either. Um, but that's a very solid list. So for my list, um, I kind of did it a little differently.
Mhm.
But number 10 for me is the dog on the field.
Nice.
I thought that was a very it was just such an unexpected moment.
Right.
And like I said, the shout out to that dog. Hope he's living his best life. So that was number 9. I mean, number 10. Um, Let me go back. I have an honorable mention
Okay.
because I'd knocked one off because of another one that I kind of was going back and forth with it.
Mhm.
And that is Jim Curtin's comment of, yeah, not good.
Oh,
The,
that's a good
the, the
one.
moment that keeps on giving. I mean, we've
Yes,
used it
it
on our
does.
show. Other people have used it on their show. It's a meme. I mean, we have so many great memories of that.
We do.
Yes.
We've used it so many times.
Oh yeah. Um, so number 9 for me is Nathan Harriel's set piece development this year.
Ah.
So, you know, Nathan Harrell last year was kind of, just, him and Biza were fighting it out for that right back position. This year, especially during Leagues Cup, especially during times during the year, he was kind of, I felt, at maybe low as well. But just to see his development, and every time I would ask Jim about it, and it usually was after a header, I'd ask him this question. And Jim, I think kind of towards the end was like, "Oh, Kyle's going to ask me this question about Harrell's development." I think Jim really was comfortable with him. I mean, he just missed that one in
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
you did. Ugh.
So I mean, just to see his development becoming very good at set pieces is a very good weapon moving forward for the Union.
It is.
So that was my number 9. Number 8, Chris Donovan's goal against, New England.
Oh, yes.
New England, just because that game was like, you're like, "Oh, here we go, game 3, this is gonna go to the PKs, we're probably gonna end up going in." Out of nowhere, boom, Chris Donovan, makes a good run.
I thought about putting that one on my list too. That and another one for
I mean,
him.
because that got us on the next round. Very clutch moment for Chris Donovan. And, just to see him kind of develop, I mean, He he's developed this year. I'm curious to see if he takes that next step because you're gonna need it in 2024. So, uh, number let's see, this number 7, and this is gonna shock a lot of people. Um, Brujo's goal against Orlando City. I
Yeah.
only have it in at 7.
Mm.
Beautiful goal.
Mhm.
Deserved to be goal of the year. Just the way it knuckles in, it's awesome. His
Mm.
first goal was a great moment. And an important moment. But for me, there were more favorite moments. Now,
How loud was I screaming when he did that? Because we were watching it from home because it was away.
I was downstairs doing something,
And I'm like, "Oh my god, he did
and I
it!"
come running downstairs. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
I was like screaming.
Um, so, number 6 for me is Choo Choo's development, especially in Leagues Cup.
Nice.
Just to see him throughout the course of the season, and for me, this was important because even as of last year and the year before, I always liked what I saw out of Jesus Bueno. And now to see him develop into what he's been and the patience, like when I asked him that question, he talked about patience and just having to earn a spot in U2 and then just having to take that time to develop it. And now to see where he is, where he's now going to be hopefully moving forward a contributing factor on that,
Mhm.
first team. So that was really awesome to see, especially during Leagues Cup, to him take that next step. When and it came a point when Ali was out, you really didn't worry because
Yep.
Choo Choo was going to be there. So I'm curious to see what that looks like. And he was such a plug and play guy. You could use him in many different. So his growth and development is going to be key for the Union moving forward into 2024. And then at number 5, the away trip to Colorado.
Yes.
Kind of same thoughts you had. I mean, I know for me and Todd down there with just Jim and like this tiny, probably about the size of our room in here, getting interview questions with him. Just, getting to see my mentor after so many years, going hiking, just going around. It was such a fun, it's a quick trip, but it was such a fun trip.
It was.
So, just a lot of cool moments from that trip and some place I'd like to go back. Number 4, it's an Andre Blake save. Andre Blake versus Chicago is one of my favorite moments.
Oh, yeah.
So if you remember,
Oh my gosh. It's like
Andre
burned into my brain, that one.
Andre's down and everybody's screaming, players are screaming like to stop because he's down in pain.
Yeah.
And Kai Kamara gets a fast break. He's heading down the field, and here you see Andre
Hobbling.
literally on one
Like,
leg,
that's burned into my brain seeing him do that.
and then just and Kai puts a shot on that, and Andre just slides out and hits the shot, and then just lays there. Like that for me is, I mean, has he made more spectacular saves? Yes, but to say that, to show where he's hard on the sleeve for his club,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Like, he was just, like, sacrificing himself out there. Like, just, like, for me watching that right there, like, it was right in front of us, and everyone was like, "Oh my god," like, "Oh my god." It, like, you knew he was in pain, and, like,
Yeah.
it's like, "No, Hunter." I was like, "Oh god, oh god, oh god." And just like I said, that image has been burned in my brain, just him, like, like, hobbling over trying to save and doing it, though, and it's just like, wow. I mean,
Yep. That was
respect.
that was a Superman moment.
Yeah.
Number 2, number 3, Chris Donovan's goal versus Querétaro.
Yes. We were watching that from Vermont on my laptop.
Yeah, talk about at that store. Chris Donovan once again, and Jim said, made the run into box, puts the ball in the net, and there's that goal where you're like, oh my gosh, Chris Donovan.
Chris Donovan was our savior twice.
Question: is it Chris Donovan or Chris Donovan?
Donovan. Oh my
Sorry,
goodness.
Todd. Anyway, yeah, but no, there you go. If he can start making it, there's a vital piece late in the game. If he can
Yeah.
continue to develop like that, you never know.
He saved us from going to PKs in that game.
Good.
And
We
then
had no one on that bench. Remember Jim?
yes, we were really like, "Oh crap."
We're like, who?
So thank you, Chris. I mean, that's great momentum. It's too bad we went and got like,
Sure, but
destroyed in that
they
game.
had that moment.
Yeah.
That's
Chris
the moment.
Donovan had 2 great moments. I mean, what a guy.
And then number 2, like say, in DC. That whole defensive sequence is still probably one of my favorite defensive sequences of the
Yeah, you
year.
had to watch that.
I had to
Like
watch
from
that.
afar. I was at the game and you were not.
So that's my number 2, and then number 1, I mean,
I
okay,
know what it's gonna be.
it is what you think it's gonna be, everybody. It was hat trick versus Toronto, and, I mean, for that moment, having watched him, from afar and just studying who he was even before we signed him,
Mhm.
and just seeing some his highlights, like, that was vintage Ua from Bromby right there. That
Mhm.
was vintage Ua from Bromby. And we also got one of the greatest Sean Johnson memes. The
Yep, we
Sean
did.
Johnson just standing there after that 3rd goal, looking distraught and being like, "When taking the bag goes wrong."
And also we got great pictures of like Ua in the rain. Like,
Yes.
Pull me, you know what I'm talking about.
This is our top 10. Tell
Yeah.
us what your favorite moment is.
It was tough to whittle it down to 10. There were so many, I mean, we had so many games.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun moments, like doing the beat the bull thing. That was fun.
Mhm.
We had a lot of good times just like at the tailgates with everybody. The away trip to Red Bulls when we went up with Todd. That was a good time.
Yep.
Um, there were all sorts of things. Meet the team night was fun. Um, so
It was
yeah,
a good time. It
it
was a
was.
very good time. And so, what is your favorite moments of 2023? Please send us, share your top 10 moments. So, all right. So, that is all the time we have for today's episode. And before we go, we just want a couple announcements. First, um, Jillian and I will be in LA with Todd Lewis at the United States Soccer Coaches Convention. We got you and I are some of the guests we've reached out to already, and it's going to be for us being coaches. I'm really excited to have some of these conversations, kind of
Mhm.
down some coaching ideas. So for some of you, hopefully you enjoy them. Some people not. If you like learning about something outside of the X's and O's, you might find some of these discussions very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for context, like this is the United Soccer Coaches Convention. I have never coached soccer,
Yeah.
and I talk this, but I'm really interested in talking to these people because I am a coach as a swim coach and everything, and there's a lot of correlation there. And
Yeah.
I'm really excited for what we're going to experience there, and we get to go out to basically LA again and another short trip, but
Yeah.
slightly longer than the last time we went, just for the cup. Um, but yeah, and it's like the week before my birthday, so it's kind of a birthday trip too.
Yeah.
So a
We're
lot of
having a
fun.
good time.
Yeah.
All right. So, that's all for today's episode of the One Team We Agree On.
Make sure to subscribe and leave us comments, and we always love hearing from you. So definitely leave us those comments. And if you have any ideas on future episodes, or people that we should have on, or topics, send them our way.
And both Jillian and I want to wish you and yours a very happy and safe new year. And may 2024 be awesome to everybody.
Hope it be a year of many Philadelphia championships.
Yes. And until next time, I'm Kyle,
I'm Jillian,
and we'll see you at the game.
which will be very soon.
Yes, it will.